On the first day of the month, I was at home alone, resting on my bed. I fell asleep, and in my sleep, I saw a vision. Two men appeared before me, taller and more magnificent than anyone I had ever seen on earth. Their faces shone like the sun, and their eyes burned like bright flames. Fire seemed to come from their lips, and they were dressed in robes of purple, adorned with singing and various decorations. Their wings were brighter than gold, and their hands were whiter than snow. They stood at the head of my bed and called me by my name. I woke up and saw these two men standing before me. I greeted them, but I was filled with fear. My face changed color from terror. The men spoke to me, saying, "Be brave, Enoch. Do not be afraid. The eternal God has sent us to you. Today, you will ascend with us into heaven. But before we go, you must tell your sons and your household what they must do while you are away. No one should look for you until the Lord brings you back to them." I hurried to obey them. I left my house and went to the doors, as they had instructed me. I called my sons, Muzel, Regem, and Gad, and told them everything the men had said to me. After I had spoken to my sons, the angels took me on their wings and carried me up to the first heaven. They placed me on the clouds, and I looked around. I saw a vast sea, larger than any sea on earth. The angels showed me the elders and rulers of the stars, and I saw 200 angels who controlled the stars and their movements. These angels flew with their wings and circled around those who sailed the seas. I looked down and saw the treasure houses of snow and the angels who guarded them. I saw the clouds where the snow and dew were stored, and how they were opened and closed. The angels also showed me the treasure house of dew, which looked like olive oil and had the appearance of all the flowers of the earth. Many angels guarded these treasure houses, and I saw how they were managed. The two men then took me to the second heaven. There, I saw a darkness deeper than any darkness on earth. I saw prisoners hanging, waiting for the great and final judgment. These prisoners were angels who had rebelled against God. They were darker than the darkness around them, and they wept endlessly. I asked the men with me, "Why are these beings tortured like this?" They answered, "These are God's apostates. They did not obey God's commands, but followed their own will. They turned away from God and joined their prince, who is also imprisoned in the fifth heaven." Next, the men took me to the third heaven. There, I saw a place of incredible beauty. I saw trees with sweet-smelling fruits and flowers. In the middle of this paradise was the tree of life, where the Lord rests when he visits. This tree was indescribably beautiful, with golden and fiery colors. It bore every kind of fruit, and its roots reached to the ends of the earth. Two springs flowed from the tree, producing honey, milk, oil, and wine. These waters divided into 4 streams and flowed through the paradise of Eden. The garden was filled with 300 bright angels who sang without ceasing, serving the Lord day and night. The men then led me to the northern side of the third heaven, where I saw a terrible place. It was filled with fire, darkness, and gloom. A river of fire flowed through it, and the entire place was covered in flames, frost, and ice. The angels there were cruel and merciless, carrying weapons and inflicting endless torture. I cried out, "How terrible this place is!" The men explained, "This place is prepared for those who dishonor God. It is for those who commit terrible sins, child corruption, witchcraft, murder, lies, and greed. It is for those who harm the poor, worship false gods, and turn away from their Creator. This is their eternal inheritance." The men then took me to the fourth heaven. There I saw the movements of the sun and moon. I measured their paths and compared their light. The sun's light was brighter than the moon's, and it moved with incredible speed, never resting. The sun was accompanied by 8 great stars, each with 1,000 smaller stars. 15,000 angels attended the sun by day, and 1,000 by night. 6-winged angels flew before the sun, lighting its flames. Next, we ascended to the fifth heaven. There I saw many soldiers called the Grigori. They were larger than giants, with withered faces and silent mouths. I asked, "Why are these beings so sad and silent? Why is there no service in this heaven?" The men replied, "These are the Grigori. They rebelled against the Lord of light with their prince, Satan. 3 of them came to earth and broke their vows. They saw the beauty of human women and took them as wives, defiling the earth. Their children were the giants, who brought great evil and violence. These Grigori weep for their brethren and await the Lord's judgment. The men then took me to the 6th heaven. There I saw 7 bands of angels, shining brighter than the sun. They were glorious and radiant, with no difference in their appearance or behavior. These angels governed the stars, the moon, and the sun. They watched over the seasons, the rivers, the seas, and the fruits of the earth. They recorded the deeds of men and sang praises to the Lord. Among them were 6 phoenixes, 6 cherubim, and 6 six-winged angels, all singing with one voice. Their song was indescribably beautiful. Finally, the men took me to the 7th heaven. There I saw a great light and fiery troops of archangels, dominions, and powers. I saw cherubim, seraphim, thrones, and many-eyed beings. I was filled with fear and trembled, but the men said, "Be brave, Enoch. Do not fear." They showed me the Lord sitting on his high throne. The Lord's face was like glowing iron, emitting sparks of fire. His appearance was indescribable, marvelous, awful, and terrifying. I fell to the ground and bowed before him. The Lord spoke to me, saying, "Be brave, Enoch. Do not fear. Stand before me for eternity." The archangel Michael lifted me up and brought me before the Lord. The Lord commanded his servants, "Let Enoch stand before me forever." The glorious ones bowed and agreed. The Lord then told Michael, "Take Enoch, remove his earthly garments, anoint him with sweet ointment, and clothe him in garments of glory." Michael did as the Lord commanded. He anointed me and dressed me in glorious robes. I looked at myself and saw that I had become like one of the glorious ones. This vision of Enoch takes us on a journey through the heavens, revealing the beauty of paradise, the horrors of judgment, and the glory of God's throne. It shows the consequences of rebellion against God and the rewards of faithfulness. Enoch's story reminds us of the importance of obedience, humility, and reverence for the Lord. Through his eyes, we catch a glimpse of the divine order and the eternal destiny that awaits those who follow God.